Hello, hello, hello. The off-season news is grinding to a halt. So let's look back and recap a bit of what the national media has been talking about in terms of the Magic's off-season. Because, like it or not, we're going to need them to draw interest into the Magic so that we can have some more showcase games as well as start the Paolo MVP chatter. That's right. We're talking off-season chatter and off-season grades. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Orlando Magic fans, by an Orlando Magic fan. Thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. While you're here, click subscribe so that you don't miss any of the content that I produce, as well as joining the Orlando Magic Nation. While you're here clicking around as well, please click that like button. That really helps the channel it goes out to more people the more likes that it has. So please smash that like button. And lastly, this doesn't have to be a one-way street. So if you believe that the grades are wrong and we deserved an A plus 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 plus, or you hated the Desmond trade, and you thought the Magic messed up the whole offseason and give it an F, put it down in the comments because we want everybody to be heard. So, first things first. The first thing that I have here is from the Zach Lowe show from a few days ago. So Zach Lowe's one of those that he's a hardcore NBA fan. So he has information or he has thoughts on every team, the Charlotte Hornets, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings. He's one of those that he knows his stuff left, right, and center. So he's one of that you don't need to wonder if he's been watching your games or if he knows any bit about the team. So when he talks about it, you know he's been watching. So in this video here, he's tiering all the Eastern Conference teams. So I think he has 5, he said, on there. And the first tier is the tier that he believes they can actually win the conference. So he has his in his estimation there are 4 teams. His guest here is Michael Pina, and he has 3 teams in this first tier. So let's hear who they think they are going to have in their first tier.
Okay. I have the Orlando Magic as a team that could plausibly win the Eastern Conference. You're nodding. You have that team.
Yes, I have the Orlando Magic as my third team.
I went crazy.
Ooh, he ends up saying he goes crazy and he actually adds Atlanta into that mix. No offense, no thoughts. I just think there's a lot of hodgepodge pieces on there, but they can make it work, and who am I to judge? But that's that. So again, when it comes to national media, Zach Lowe's your guy. So he has a lot of ears. A lot of people listen to the way he thinks about the game. He has a lot of conversations with GMs and owners and all of that. So if you watch his videos or listen to his podcast, he is very, very plugged in. So for him to think that the Magic have a plausible chance, that's big. And we need big names like that to start really churning the wheels and start getting the ball rolling when it comes to national media attention, because we want more nationally televised games. We want more showcase games. We want to be the conversation. Obviously, we want it all for good things, but we got to take the good and the bad at times. So here he's going to start talking a bit. He's going to break down why he believes the Magic are the team, or he tiers them as one of the teams in contention to win the East.
I went crazy. And to nobody's surprise, I have a.
That's not that one. There we go. Where we go.
Let's do like a word on Orlando. We both, no brainer, put Orlando in this tier. Again, in a normal year, they would not be here. They have not proven enough. They have not proven enough offensively. They traded for Desmond Bane. Great move. Fits like a glove. Still have some questions about the bench, but I like the Tyus Jones addition. I think there's enough there in terms of like staggering the 3 best players on the team, Bane, Wagner, Banchero, that particularly in a playoff setting when you're not going to play 10 guys, I think there's going to be enough there on the bench between Black and Tyus Jones, and we'll see if De Silva hits, and we'll see how much Isaac can give. I like their backup centers when healthy. There's enough there. Regular season, the offense could still get rickety. There's a big learning curve for everybody involved. But I just think, bottom line, they're talented, they're surging, they're young, they're on the rise, and they have a defensive identity that is really hard to play against. And I know it was a 4-1 series. I was impressed by how hard they played Boston in the first round, despite a bunch of injuries, despite Franz Wagner with the hitch in his jumper. And by the way, if the hitch is still there, they're not going to be in this tier. They need Franz Wagner to actually hit the apex of his game. But
Now, for me, I was surprised that he didn't bring up Mo, because for me, the bench really comes and goes with Mo. Mo, like we always say, the heart and soul of the team. That's Jalen. For me, Jalen is the soul of the team, and Mo is the heart of the team, because I think he really just keeps that engine going, and he's that pesky pain in the neck that you need on a team, basically. So for me, I think that if Mo doesn't come back healthy, obviously he's healthy now. If you check some videos back, I talked about how the doctor said that he's basically healthy at this point. So now it's all a mental game, and he needs to get over the fact of babying the knee or worrying about the knee and just start playing basketball. So now I think at this point, he's healthy. He just has to get his mind right. He's not playing in Eurobasket, it seems like. So that's good. He's going to rest the rest of the offseason, come back healthy. Hopefully, he's able to come back by Christmas time, or if not, a little earlier. That would be ideal. But I think he's the one that's going to be the stir that the straw that stirs the bench scoring. Because once he was out, then the scoring off the bench went downhill basically. And yes, we're bringing in Tyus. If you saw some videos of mine earlier as well, I didn't really. I think that Jalen should come off the bench and Tyus should be a starter for a multitude of reasons. Watch that video if you're wondering. I might do another video about it little later on with better audio, because that first video didn't have the best audio. But anyway, so for me, even if Tyus does come off the bench, he's a game manager, which is great. We need that. That's something that we need. I don't feel like that's a negative term, but he's not the 30. Oh, he's not going to have a random game where he scores 30, or he's not going to have a random game where he scores 22, 23. He's going to be more of a game manager, getting the assists out, not turning the ball over, which again is something that we need and is going to help our offense. I think that for me is the issue. It's our scoring off the bench. So we talked about. He also mentioned Tristan. Tristan, for me, if you've watched a few of my videos as well, you're probably already knowing where I'm coming with a lot of this stuff. Tristan, to me, is going to be a key. He needs to be one to really make a step up. He can be the Franz Wagner of the second unit. He's able to pass. He's able to score. He has athleticism. He can play D. To me, he's going to be the one that's really going to elevate the bench. If Mo is not able to do so, because we know Ji, who he is, what he is. He's going to be a defender. His shot hopefully comes back a bit more, but he's never going to be that big scorer off the bench. And AB the same so far, at least. AB is still new, so we don't know. Maybe AB will make a big jump when it comes. We just need him to make a jump with aggression for me. He just needs to be more aggressive, get downhill, get to the paint, shoot more, do all of that stuff. So the bench unit's going to be a bit in flux, but for me, the big key is having Mo back. Let's see the rest.
again, it would be premature in a normal year. Something crazy is going to happen. This team is set up to be the something crazy team.
Yeah, I love Desmond Bain. I love just the fit there. I think that was totally worth the swing with what they gave up to get him. Just one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Really capable ball handler. I like the Tyus Jones signing a lot. This is a team, everyone talks about the three-point shooting. They've also finished near the bottom of the league in assist-to-turnover ratio for the past 3 years, and you're bringing in one of the steadiest hands in basketball, just a reliable, low-mistake floor general who can really shore up an area of need. And I think, primarily, this is Paolo Banchero's time to be one of the 3 best players in the conference. That is totally on the table. And obviously, efficiency is the number one hang-up. I think that what we could see is, I think the comp that I've been thinking about is Cade Cunningham, where, people are down on him. He doesn't really have an ideal supporting cast. There's not a lot of spacing, etc. Paolo isn't the exact same type of player as Cade. He won't run 40 pick and rolls or whatever in a game. But he's going to be in more lineups with space, and he's going to, be able to set screens for Desmond Bain and roll into the pocket and make plays. He's going to just a lot of different things that he's going to be able to do. I think his efficiency will tick up, and I think that there's a definite scenario where he is on a lot of MVP ballots at the end of the season.
That was the only note I had for Orlando. It's in big, bold font on my notes over here. Is defend Banchero. There's a lot of hand-wringing about the Banchero max contract, which has the escalators to 30% that Chet Holmgren didn't get and all that. It's also got a player option, which is like suboptimal. I don't love the player option when you get everything, but it is what it is. And I have probably been to a fault defensive of mid to non-glamorous market teams just maxing out young players willy-nilly. Like the Raptors probably could have negotiated a little harder with Scotty Barnes, Orlando with Franz Wagner. We've seen that in Houston, and I've talked about that a lot with them negotiating a little harder than these other teams. And Bill was on that last summer about Franz and Scotty, and I defended those teams probably too much. There's probably room for negotiations. And I heard a lot of like, well, Paolo's inefficient, shoots a lot of mid-range jumpers. Like, he's not a number one guy. How are you paying him like a number one guy? Is he ever going to be a number one guy? And I'm like, look, man, I don't know what you all are seeing. This dude is awesome, and I am more than okay paying him a max. I don't know if he's going to be, a first-team All-NBA player at any point. I would actually probably lean toward there's a season in there where he cracks it. But I know I watched this dude in the playoffs against elite defenses with nothing around him. No shooting, no help, almost nothing reliable, plus or minus a Franz Wagner game. And a lot of the Franz Wagner games are like 8 of 22. They're not like awesome games where he's being guarded really closely. And he just shows up and shows up and shows up and makes a fair share of really hard mid-range jump shots. Does he take too many of those? Sure. He's also shown me he's a good passer. He's a good playmaker on the move as a screener. And I think the more talent around him, the more he'll tap into those parts of his game. There'll be 3 or 4 mid-range shots that are transitioned into better shots for him at the rim, threes, passes, all of that. Give me all the Banchero stock. Like, that dude is ready for everything. Anyway.
I agree. Like there's a video again. This is the 20th video I've produced, so there's enough of me out there already that you're able to know kind of where I stand on a lot of this stuff. So the for me, Paolo's going to be in the MVP conversation this year. I think he's going to end up at least in the top 3 conversation. Jokic is always going to be around, especially because I think Denver's going to be better this year. Shea is going to be around because of Oklahoma City. So for me, Paolo's going to be 3 to 5 in the conversation because the Orlando Magic, are going to be good this year if all goes well. And even at this point, they have a bit more flexibility that if things don't go as well as they hope, but he stays healthy, that he's going to get credit for bringing a team maybe that had a bunch of injuries up to a level. Because I think the Magic are going to be up there in the rankings or in the with the record that they should have to be at least a top 3 Eastern Conference team. But I think they're going to be better than that. They're going to be one of those surprise teams, as Zach mentioned, the surprise thing team or something like that, or the something team. So that's going to be something crazy team. That's what he says, the something crazy team. I think that's going to be the perfect motto for the Magic this year, and I'm going to bring it up probably a lot throughout the course of the year. They're going to be the something crazy team. Now, when it comes to Paolo's max contract, I really didn't see many people talk poorly about it. Maybe in Zach's circles because again he talks to a lot of GMs and he talks to a lot of owners and agents and a bunch of other people within the NBA, maybe in their world, but I hadn't really seen that much, especially in the Orlando Magic Reddit community or the other communities that I'm in. So that was a bit surprising for me. But let's say that's the case. The Magic really haven't been a destination because of the record the last 14 years since we made it to the second round of the playoffs. And even then, but for all the old heads out there, they'll remember that the Magic were the it team in the 90s, in the early 90s, at least from 92 when we got Shaq till 96 when he left. So at least for that 4-year period or so, we were a glamour team, really. Not partially, mostly having to do with Shaq, just because he was the personality of Shaq and him being on movies and him rapping and him doing all the different things that he did. That obviously put us on the map as well. So we don't really have another guy like that right now in Franzo Paulo, but maybe Jalen ends up starting to do something different. Anyway, but again, we were a destination, so much so that we ended up bringing Grant Hill from a playoff team in Detroit. He ended up coming to the Magic. Tracy McGrady as well. He played pretty well. He was on an up-and-coming team in Toronto, and he came over to Orlando. We were this close from getting Tim Duncan, so we would have had our first big 3 before big 3s were really a thing. So we were we were much of a destination at that point in 2000 to be able to grab some of those free agents. So after that, we did have to overpay a bit for Rashard Lewis and a few of other people, because at that point, then our stock started to decrease, and then now it's been 2, 3 generation of NBA players that Orlando hasn't been good or hasn't been relevant really, because you don't always have to be great as long as you're relevant and you're talked about. That's what's really hurt the Magic's image, let's say, at this point. But now we're on the upswing with 2 max players plus Jalen plus Desmond Bain plus any other guy we might end up taking or trading for or whatever. I think Jace is going to end up being a pretty big name when it all said and done. So I think we're going to have a lot more glamour back in Orlando, which is going to be great. I'm working on a project that I'll talk a bit about the history of the Magic at different points, and I'm definitely going to focus on that Shaq era for the Magic, because we were an it team. So when he talks about there that the glamour teams have to overpay, hopefully we start not hopefully we start being a glamour team and we don't have to overpay, especially once we have some success. So if we start making it to conference finals, we start making it to NBA finals, then we are that team. Look at the way people are talking about Indianapolis or Indiana right now. The Pacers, people were like, "Oh, well, Boston's down. I mean, the Pacers are down and all that." As if the Pacers have been something forever. They kind of just popped the last couple of years. So now people they're putting the Pacers on the same level as Boston when it comes to teams being down right now due to injury. So the Pacers are not on that level, but they have made it to the NBA Finals, and they have had a lot more people talk about them just because they kind of have to talk about them because they did it on the court. So that's what the Magic have to do now. We want this chatter. We want Zach Lowe to be talking about us. We want Bill Simmons to start talking about us. We want Kevin O'Connor on Yahoo Sports to start talking about us. We want all the national media guys, the Ringer NBA show to start talking about us. We want all those people to start talking about us because that's going to drive interest. That means now we're going to be on Christmas. We'll be able to make one of the Christmas games. And okay, now we're the showcase game of this evening for against Oklahoma City tonight, or we're going to be we're going to be the NBC showcase on Sundays or whatever. I don't know when their schedules are going to be, but you get my drift. Like that's what we need, as well as we need a narrative, we need news, we need steam for the campaign to get Paolo in the top 5 of MVP. His play is going to be the number one, of course. He needs to be able to play well. The Magic need to do well in the standings, but we also need narrative, as we've seen every year with MVPs. The narrative is the narrative. You need to be able to have a story on why Russell Westbrook needs to be MVP, why James Harden needs to be MVP. Those were more narrative. The year Joel Embiid won the MVP was kind of like an issue, like, oh, well, we've already given Jokic 2, so who's the best guy here? Okay, and then it became a bigger conversation, and then you saw it steamrolled. So if the Magic are that high in the standings and Paolo's playing that well, then all NBA and MVP conversations are going to follow, and that's what we need. We need that juice, that momentum for us to continue on all of that. So I think all this is great. Having Zach Lowe talk about us and us being in the first tier of plausible teams. Is it going to happen? We don't really know. But again, the issue or the main focus we need to listen to and be happy about is that we're in the conversation. After so many years of irrelevance, we're in the conversation. So that's something that we need to do. Now, when we look at the grades, I cherry picked. I compiled a bunch of different grades we've had so far in the off season, because now we've already done the draft. We've done most of free agency. We ended up doing a big trade. So now we're pretty much going to be going into the deep off season at this point. So news is going to be tough to come by. But if we're looking here now at some of the grades. This one is from Hoops Reference, which is a big following on YouTube, and this is their grade for the.
Next is the Orlando Magic, and the grade for their offseason is an A. The Magic are another big winner of the offseason so far, addressing their biggest needs head-on in a notable way. The Magic were the worst shooting team in the NBA last year, so they went out and traded for sharpshooter Desmond Bain, who scores 20 points per game, hitting 40% of his threes. They also brought in a temporary boost to their point guard position in Tyus Jones, who can sub in and run the second unit at a high level, while also hitting over 40% of his threes, and locking up Paolo Banchero on a max contract extension was an obvious move to continue building on. Next is the Philadelphia 76ers, and the
Right. So let's stop that. Here we go. So when it comes to the grades there, I think that is a great grade. Obviously, A can't really get much better unless it's A plus plus or A plus or any of that other stuff. So for that always is going to look good on us. We had a big trade that fit perfectly the deficiencies that we had at the time. Assist to turnover ratio, shooting, all of that. So we check and check really at that. So that they gave us a good grade on there. I'm guessing to me, well, that was an A. Now here with the ringer, they didn't do A, B, C, D grades. They basically just did winners and losers. So for us, we're a winner, which is great. I say that's an A. Their focus on it though was more the Tyus Jones trade or signing because that it was a bit more shrewd. Obviously, we kicked the doors down with in the trade season this off season with the Desmond Bain trade, but the shrewd move is to get Tyus Jones to man the second unit if that's where he ends up playing, because we definitely need someone to keep us in line when some of our starters are off. So that was the ringer. So again, the ringer doesn't. It hasn't talked much about the Magic, but again, there, there really shouldn't have been. 2 years ago, yes, we kind of flew under the radar, but unless we would have won that series against Cleveland, there wasn't going to be a lot of talk about our team because we were new. Any new thing is not, it's kind of sparkly and nice, but you have to show it over and over again, time and time again. That's why I think we're getting so much benefit of the doubt because people have seen Paulo and Franz ball out now enough that they're like, okay, these guys are for real. So now we add another for real guy in Desmond, and we hopefully get a for real guy back healthy, Jalen. That now we're for real. So that's that for the ringer. I would say that's an A as well. If you look at Yahoo Sports, they gave us a grade A. Their big focus was the Desmond Bain trade, so we already know all of that really. They did talk a bit about Tyus at the end there, as well as Jace. Because again, for me, Jace is a big pickup for us because we needed somebody to take over the Tyus role next year. Again, we're going to be very expensive next year, the following year, the 26-27 season. We're going to be very expensive. So Jace is going to need to be that person that is the fire starter on the bench that's going to hopefully be with Mo. Mo's only on a 1 year deal, hopefully with Mo, and we have a stellar bench on there. So Yahoo Sports, A. Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report, they, I guess, were hung up a bit on the 5 first round assets that we gave up for Desmond Bain. So fair enough on that. But they did talk about how Desmond does what he needs, what we need from him. Hopefully that's what he ends up doing. So 41% hit rate from deep. He can do it all kinds of threes. He can do it hand in his face, wide open. Desmond off the bat, off the bounce, catch and shoot. Desmond is your guy, so he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. So that's what was good for that. Tyus Jones again, game manager. Game manager for me is not a negative term. We need a guy to manage the game. That's literally all. That his role is to manage the game. His role is not to score 30 points a game. He's not one to do that anyway. So we want him doing the smart play. Just continue to keep the ball going, keep the assists up and the turnovers down, and that's really all we need from Tyus Jones. And they talked about here that Paolo resigning. So obviously that was a big win for for most of the people in the world. I guess Zach knows a few people that were not happy with that. And so they gave us a B. And lastly, the worldwide leader. We were a bit all over the place with them this year. They gave us a C plus on on the Desmond Bain trade. Now, trades you can't really grade right off the bat because what if Desmond is an all star this year, and what if we go to the NBA Finals, or what if we win the title this year? Then I think it's going to be changed to an A. So those are all kind of irrelevant and a bit silly, but it was a C plus. Then the draft, the same thing. The draft we got a B plus though, not a C plus. So we had a C plus for the Desmond trade, B plus for the draft, and then we get overall a B on here. So their big thing was dealing for Bain, of course, was the big thing. Throw in a line about Tyus to help for when Jalen is out, or hoping that he is able to make it back on there. So a lot of these grades, it's again good. It's good that we have we're not in the C level grades anymore. We're in the B, B plus, A at this point. That's where we want to be. We want to be in that world. We want to be the ones that are the front office or the team that's on the rise, because that's what we have been, but we need people to notice and people to talk about it. So Paulo and Franz's game, they need to ball out this year. They will. I think that's just what they're going to be moving forward. These guys are the best right now, the best of the best. Really, are they top 10? Maybe not yet, but their play, I think this year is definitely going to be bringing them ranked higher on the Ringer and all the other different outlets that there are around there, because that's who they are. That's who these guys are. That's who they're going to be. And they're really going to take the Magic to greater heights. So starting off the offseason right with good grades, could talk about them. Also, to go back a bit to Zach also had Desmond Bain on his podcast. So if you wanted to listen to that one, feel free to go onto YouTube or to go to wherever you find your podcasts and find that one. Desmond was good on there as well. So that's what we need. We need guys to be interviewed. We need guys to be on outlets. We need guys to be out there. Just again, it's just going to help the team. It's going to help the attention will help Paulo, will help Franz for all-star considerations. It'll help Paulo for all NBA and MVP. Maybe Franz also in those conversations. It's gonna help for attention. We just need attention. So so far so good. I think that's going to be a big positive for the Magic in the long run. So what do you guys think? Do you think the grades that were given here are the correct ones? If you have a different one, if you hated the Desmond Bain trade and thought we got an F, put it down in the comments. If you thought you loved everything and you loved the logo, the new logo, and you love the restructuring of the team and you love everything, A plus, put it on there just so that I can see and we can make sure. So just a bit of a programming bit as well. With the news really starting to die down, I'm going to start working on some of the projects that I have. The only bit is that I'm learning how to edit along the way. So as I mentioned, I think once or twice on this podcast or in or in this video or in other videos, I'm going to be working on a history bit of the Magic so that we can see where we've been, so that we can get ready for where we're going to go, as well as different player profiles. So those are going to take a little more time for me to produce than these. I'm able to just turn on the camera and chat to you. So this is an easier bit than those. So those are going to take a little bit more time for me. So I will put out more content just when there's news, or I'll put out content just to say hi, because now this is part of my life and I enjoy chatting with you guys about all things Magic. So that's that. I'm going to be producing a few more things. I'll probably come on this live once in a while, once every few days, just to kind of to check in and see where we are with the Magic. And in August, I'll have bits to talk about with Eurobasket for Franz, because that's something that we're going to be checking to see how his jump shot is coming along and how Tristan is able to contribute, if he contributes at all, to Team Germany. So uh, thank you very much again. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the content, the edits, the things that I'm working on. I think are really cool. You're going to be part of the Orlando Magic Nation forever. So I really appreciate you on that. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you spending time. Smash that like button so that the video goes out to more people and we can build on this community, because it's been really cool for me this past month. I've only been doing this about a month and 20 videos in, and we have over 120 people that are subscribed. So I really appreciate you all. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a great day.